extreme weather that occurred in the past couple days. Could this pattern continue into Father's Day? I'll be breaking that all down coming up in this video. Howdy y'all, welcome back. It looks like we do have some severe weather today, as there's an enhanced risk here in the orange, a level 3 out of 5 in the severe weather scale, with a slight risk surrounding that here in the yellow, spanning from Colorado all the way down into Florida. Now, all hazards are possible today, with a significant chance for a large tornado today, with a 5% chance here in the red, Kansas and Oklahoma, and a 2% here in the green from Colorado down into Oklahoma, and from Mississippi all the way down into western Florida. There's also a significant damaging wind threat today, as well as there's a 30% hatched area here in the red, and a 15% hatched area includes northern Texas, and a regular 15% area from Colorado all the way down into Florida as well. As far as large hail threat goes, it's also a significant chance for large hail today as well. 30% hatched area here in the red, and a 15% area which spans from Colorado all the way down into Florida, with some 15% hatched areas as well in central Texas and over here by Alabama, and including over here by Kansas and parts of Oklahoma. And this threat continues into Father's Day as well on Sunday, as there's a level 3 out of 5 enhanced risk, which includes parts of Arkansas, Louisiana, and Mississippi, and parts of Alabama as well, with a slight risk surrounding that here in the yellow. Now, all hazards are possible tomorrow, with a 2% chance for tornadoes in this green zone here from Arkansas all the way down into the panhandle of Florida. As far as damaging wind threat goes, there's a pretty high chance for damaging winds tomorrow, as there's a 30% chance here in the red and 15% surrounding that here in the yellow. As far as large hail threat goes, there's a pretty significant chance for large hail as well tomorrow. This is a 50% hatched area here, spanning from eastern Texas all the way over into Mississippi, and even a regular 15% area, which spans all the way from Alabama all the way up into Arkansas. As we head off into Monday, there's still another threat for severe weather. A low chance, but still a chance, as there's marginal risk, which includes eastern Louisiana all the way up into central Georgia. So now that we know the main risks for the next 3 days, let's go ahead and take a look at the time frame when you could expect the worst and severe weather. Let's take a look at today's triple R model. Keep in mind that time's up here if you want to keep track. This is in Eastern time, by the way, so keep that in mind. As we push this forward, it looks like by right around 3 o'clock is when some severe weather could be getting started, and this is where our low wind tornado threat is going to take place. It looks like by right around 6 o'clock is when some severe weather could be getting started over here in the enhanced risk zone, and this is where our highest chance of seeing a tornado is within this zone right here. And as you can see, there's a little supercell that's going to be developing right around this time as well. The primary threat's mainly going to be a damaging wind and large hail threat, and that's going to take place from right around 10 o'clock through right around 2 o'clock, when our damaging wind and large hail threat's going to be starting to take place. And we could expect upwards of 60 knot winds. That's right around 50 to 60 mile an hour. So make sure you tell anything you don't want blowing around out there, and make sure you put the cars up. So there's also a pretty significant large hail threat today as well. Now it looks like it's starting to start to diminish as we head into the early morning hours of Father's Day, as there's also a marginal risk for flooding. So if you live in the low-lying area, please be aware of that. Turn around and do not drown. As we head off into Father's Day, we're going to have a couple rounds of severe weather. The first round's going to be hitting from right around 8 or 9 o'clock in the morning through right around noon. And we're going to get a little bit of a break. So if you're heading out and celebrating Father's Day with your dads, doing burnouts, going fishing, whatever you do with your father, make sure you go out there and celebrate him, by the way. Looks like you're going to be in the clear for a little bit. You're going to have some spotty showers and some rumbles of thunder out here. It looks like by right around 8 o'clock is when our severe weather is going to start to get ramped up again. And this is where our tornado threat could come into play. There is a small chance for tornadoes, but still a threat nonetheless. Now, our main threats tomorrow is mainly going to be a damaging wind and large hail threat. And it looks like it's going to occur right around 3 o'clock. And that's when our severe weather is going to start to wind down. There's also a slight risk for excessive rainfall within this area as well. Again, if you live in a low-lying area, please keep that in mind. And to look at the timing for Monday, we're going to lower resolution down to AM 12 kilometer. Now we know how reliable this is. I mean, let's be real. We're still going to look at it anyway. And it looks like we could be dealing with some severe weather from right around 7 o'clock through right around possibly 11 o'clock. But to look at this further, we're going to look at what we call a lightning flash density rate. Basically shows where the most intense storms could start to fire up. Now we'll push us off into Monday here. Looks like by right around noon to right around 3-4 o'clock is when we could expect the worst and severe weather on Monday. Now, I might have a video out on Monday, and if I don't, I will have one out on Tuesdays. If you want to see more forecast videos like this, make sure you hit the subscribe button down below. We're trying to hit 200 subscribers, so make sure you go share the video as well. So let's go ahead and take a look at the reasons why they issued the risk of the issue for the next 3 days. And to take a look at that, we're going to look at what we call, basically, tornado fuel. It's the significant tornadic parameters, puts all the ingredients for tornadic development all into one run, where the most favorable ingredients for tornadic development could occur. As it pushes forward, looks like we're going to have almost a 3 out of 10 on the tornadic scale by right around 9 o'clock within this area right here. And as we look at a sounding, taking right over Oklahoma right at 9 o'clock, we have some low 80-degree temperatures with some low 70-degree dew points. We have a little bit of a capping inversion, so it looks like supercells could be suppressed out there. But we have about 4,000 joules per kilogram as far as the surface-based CAPE goes. So it looks like we have a little bit of a powdered keg environment as far as the thermodynamics go. As far as the kinematics go, we have a 7.4 on the enhanced helicity index, 272 as far as the storm relative helicity goes. It's definitely sufficient thermodynamics and kinematics for tornadic development, but we have to have that cap break before we see any tornadoes out there. Let's go and take a look at the tornadic parameters for Father's Day. It looks like by right around 8 o'clock, like we could be dealing with upwards of almost an 8.2 out of 10 on the tornadic scale. And as we look at a sounding over here in this area, right around that time, looks like we're going to be doing some upper 80-degree temperatures with some upper 70-degree dew points. Not much of a capping inversion, as we have about 4,400 joules per kilogram as far as the surface-based CAPE goes, and right around a 9.1 as enhanced helicity index goes. We have a little bit of a dry slot in the upper levels of the atmosphere and some curvature over here in the hodograph. So it looks like on Father's Day, right around 8 o'clock, looks like we could be dealing with a potential tornado outbreak. And it looks like tomorrow could be a bigger tornado day than today. As long as you know your severe weather action plan and where to go when that tornado warning goes off, then you won't be terrified and you'll be prepared. And I can't stress the word that there could be a tornado outbreak, as the key word there is could. Anything can change. But still, remain aware if you're within the enhanced risk zones for the next couple days. So let's go ahead and take a look and see if there is any hurricanes that are forming out there in the Atlantic and the Pacific. Now it looks like we do have a couple disturbances out there with a 70% chance within the next 7 days over here in the Atlantic and a 30% chance within the next 7 days over here in the Pacific. And to take a look at what we could expect as we head into the future as these tropical disturbances go, we're going to look at the HWRF model to look at the Invest 92L. That's what this tropical disturbance is going to be called. Push this into the future, as it looks like it's going to turn into a little bit of a tropical depression and potential tropical storm as it heads towards the Caribbean islands here. And if there's a little ridging that happens, we could expect this to curve northward into the deep south. But if there is a little bit of a trough that happens, we could expect this to potentially do that little recurve pattern and curve off into the Atlantic. And I'll show you what the tropical forecast discussion is. If you want to pause the video at any time, you can. But it looks like we do have a tropical storm chance out here for the next 7 days. And over here in the Pacific, it's just a 30% chance, pretty low chance. But a chance nonetheless. And it looks like if anything does occur out here, it's just going to just go out into the Pacific and potentially die off. So let's go ahead and we're going to take a look at what we could expect as we head towards the end of June. We're going to take a look at what we could expect as we head towards the end of June and possibly into Independence Day. We're going to take a look at the 500 millibar height anomalies. Blues represent the bad weather, reds represent the good weather, ridging and troughs. Pushes forward, it looks like this little trough pattern is going to continue for a little while until a little ridging patterns are going to be setting in for the middle part of the country by the 20th. Now, it looks like by the end of the month, it looks like this pattern is going to be continuing for quite some time. But by the end of the month, it looks like a little trough is going to be setting in for the eastern part of the country as this pattern is going to flip. And it looks like as that tropical disturbance heads towards the United States, it looks like it might come into a little troughing pattern here. And as that little hurricane starts to come this way, it looks like it might do that little recurve as there's going to be a little trough it's going to set up potentially. And as we look at the simulated radar, we know we got the severe weather that's going to be happening over the next 3 days. It looks like the middle part of the country is going to be sort of dry for a little while the eastern part and the northwest part's going to be soggy, and we're going to be dealing with some potential snowy conditions up here in the northwest part of the country into Canada. And then potential severe weather by the 21st in the northern plains. We're still dealing with some soggy conditions out in the southeastern part of the country and potentially dealing with the tropical storm. But I don't think it's going to happen. I think it's going to turn to the Atlantic. And as we head into the 200-hour mark, it's sort of la-la land. Looks like we're going to be potentially dealing with some severe weather in the Carolinas. We're still going to be soggy in the eastern part of the country while we're dealing with some dry conditions for much of the rest of the country. It looks like by July 3rd, we're going to be dealing with soggy conditions. It looks like a wild weather pattern is going to be setting in as we're going to be dealing with some pretty wicked weather for the next 3 days. If you live within the enhanced risk zones for the next couple days, just please remain weather aware. Know where to go when the tornado goes off. And make sure those batteries in the weather radios are fresh, and make sure your phones are charged up. Just have a way to get a warning Now, it looks like a little tropical disturbance is going to be forming in the Atlantic, but I don't think it's going to affect the United States any, as a trough is going to be setting in along the eastern part of the country by the time it heads our way. It looks like by Independence Day, it looks like it's going to be pretty soggy, but anything can and will change by then, so just keep that in mind. So if you liked the video, please hit that thumbs up button, don't forget to subscribe down below. Appreciate all y'all for watching and tuning in, and until next time, never stop forecasting.